Welcome to Bourbon School. I'm Lauren.
And I'm Brian, and today, if you have any interest in wheated bourbons, we're going to give you a list of 6 that you need to put on your shelf right freaking now.
I like it.
Let's go.
Too.
All right, so on our list today, we have 6 recommendations for wheated bourbon.
Yes.
And I think
A
that...
producer picks the list.
Thank you, producer.
You're
This
welcome.
is a great list.
I have some.
I
great
like
lists for the
wheated
year.
bourbons.
Yes.
So, and I prefer wheated to ryes.
Okay.
I like the softness that the wheat brings
Okay.
to the flavor. So,
All right.
this is a great one. Do you want to tell the audience what wheated is, just in
Sure.
case?
So, wheated bourbon simply means that the secondary grain that they use instead of rye is wheat. And so, it will still be at least 51% corn. And then
Always.
that second grain instead of rye, they put wheat in it. And generally speaking, what they say, I never really understood this phrase
Until
they
you
use.
try a wheated.
Yeah, like it gives it a softer feel on the palate and generally a little bit sweeter.
And they're light. They tend to
Yes.
be on the lighter side.
Yes, and because the wheat is not quite as strong as rye as far as bringing flavor to the table, it lets the corn come through a little more, so you get a little more sweetness out of it. So I like wheated bourbons. I know you love wheated
do.
bourbons.
Yeah.
So we picked out some that are our favorites right
we got
now.
somes, yeah.
We got some.
We got 6
My
somes.
God.
Okay, so let's go ahead and give you our list. These are 6. Before we get started, Weller. Let's talk about Weller.
Okay, yeah. I mean,
Everybody loves it, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's
It's a little-
searching for it.
right.
What were you going to say?
Well, I think it's a little overrated, and I think we
Little
agree
bit,
on that.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not on either of our lists.
Yes, and I will say if you are starving to have a Weller on your shelf and you must have one on this list, it's going to be Antique 107. You've had a few of them. I've had Weller 12 CYPB, the full proof, the 107. The only one I think I haven't had is the single barrel, which I hear is garbage anyway. But
Well, it tends to get hyped up a lot.
Yeah.
So,
so if you want a Weller Antique 107 is the one to get, in my opinion. But we don't have a Weller on this list.
no Wellers.
All right, do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure.
All right.
Okay. So I mean, I'm a big Maker's Mark fan.
Yes.
So this, I remember taking a picture of my crappy PA store, and this was like this was a special that they had one day. But Brian recommended it. It's a Maker's Mark French Oaked number 46. This it did not disappoint.
Yes.
I like Maker's Mark anyway, but this is kind of a more sophisticated version of Maker's Mark.
Yep.
And it's not going to hit you over the head with price. It's pretty affordable, around $40 around
Right.
here.
For the
So-
regular one, yeah. And the cast strength's like
Like a
65?
little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit more, but it's really buttery, and it has kind of like a toffee flavor to it. And of course, it's 16% wheat, which isn't a huge wheated
Right.
proportion, but it still is considered wheated bourbon. And it's just it gives kind of a dessert, more of a dessert
Yeah.
pour to me, but you won't be disappointed. It's every bottle I've had is great.
Yes.
And it's reasonably priced.
Yes, 46 is great. Marianne loves 46, the French oaked. It's really good. Okay, my first one. Let's stay in the Maker's Mark neighborhood. Usually we don't have the same kind, but I went with a Maker's Cask Strength. It's 110,
Also good.
110, 111 proof in most cases, depending on the batch. And I think it's probably, of everything we have, I think for sure everything we have in this is the best value. This is
for
110 proof, and it's like $40.
Yeah.
And it is all the things you like about Maker's Mark turned up to an 11, as David St.
Yeah,
Hubbins
it's
would say.
amplified. Like that. I think both of those makers are like, take that great base recipe and just
Yes. And it's great.
increase value.
I think,
taste.
yes. And I think this is where Maker's Mark shines, because the store picks are all, 110 or 111. This is 110 or 111. I think the heart release was 110.
Yeah.
I think it's a perfect proof point. And like I said, for $49, or 40 to 50, let's say, this is definitely a weeder you want to have on your shelf.
All right.
What do you got?
Okay, so the next one we don't have a bottle of, so
Okay.
Brian will put it here, but it's the Holiday Soft Red Wheat, which as soon as, I think this was one of my first wheated bourbons, and I fell in love with it right away. It's so gentle on your palate. Like if you just want Not a real hearty bourbon, because bourbon is typically pretty hearty in its flavors. But the soft red wheat is exactly as it sounds. It's soft on your palate, but it has a lot of really light, nice flavors to it. This one's 15% wheat.
Okay.
Or wheated, and it's 100 proof, so it hits right in that sweet spot where you're getting the gentle flavors, but it doesn't overheat you either.
Yeah.
And it's very, very good. I love that bourbon. It's one of my favorites.
It is my favorite of the two we've had. We've had the regular bourbon and the wheated, and the wheated is far and away way better.
Yes.
That's a great pick. Great pick.
Thank you.
All right. I am going to go with a Rebel pick.
All right. I didn't expect this for some reason.
I love these. Like Lux, I like both Ezra Brooks and the Rebel, but if you put a Ezra pick and a Rebel pick in front of me, I would pick this one every time. I think these are great. And so like Ezra Brooks is the regular, rye grain bourbon, and then this is the Rebel is the wheated. They actually Rebel has a pretty good line in general. I have heard a lot of people say the Rebel 100, which is a real cheap bottle, but it's very good. I've got a Rebel 10-year, which is a very nice bottle, but these ones are consistently good. And you can get the Distiller's collection, and then there's a Cask strength collection. So this one is 113, and I think the Cask strengths are 120. They're both good. They're both good, depending on which one you get. But if you ever see a Rebel pick with this bottle, it's definitely a grab. It's a great wheated bourbon, and it's about $50 for a Cask strength bourbon is a real nice value. So definitely Rebel, put it on your shelf.
I'm gonna want to try that later. Okay, my last one is Wilderness Trail Wheated. And another one that I kind of fell in love with instantly. I really, really liked it. This one, I kind of saved it for last because I think this one of all my picks, and I think maybe yours too, has the highest wheat.
Okay.
It's 24%
Okay.
wheated, which is pretty high.
I didn't do that kind of research on my bottles. I'm sorry.
Atta girl.
I feel like I didn't do
Maybe
my
I'm
homework.
wrong.
I'm sorry.
No, but it's just it has those, it really builds on traditional bourbon flavor. So it has the base of that like charred oak and vanilla flavor, but it also brings that lightness of the wheated bourbon, and it's just such an easy drinker. I love it so much.
I can't believe we don't have one, because we got one to review or for something last year, and I blew through it. I loved it. And I just never bought another one.
It's my favorite on the list.
But they're great.
Yeah.
Wilderness Trail is great. That wheated is fantastic. All right, my last one is for if you want to really step it up proof-wise and get into some
is this what we're
hotter
drinking
bourbon.
right
This
now?
is what we're drinking right now.
Yeah, no, this is good stuff. I like this.
I would not recommend a regular Larceny. The standard Larceny it's like 94 proof. It's like 20 some or maybe low 30s a bottle, and it's not great. If you're going to go for that.
It's okay for like a cheap bottle.
Sure. I mean, if you want to, yes. If you're looking for a budget bottle, yeah. I would just say.
Not horrible.
We kind of already covered the budget a little bit.
Yeah, we did.
So, and like I would go, if you want to go even more budget, I would just go standard Maker's Mark before I went with a Larceny. But the barrel proofs, they are really, really good. Now, this is it's going to drink a lot hotter. This is high proof. This is like a graduate kind of wheated bourbon when you kind of work your way up, but it's definitely one you want to have. You want to definitely have like a high proof banger on your shelf. And Larceny's great. I have also heard, I actually had a chance to get a Bernheim Barrel Proof, which is like a wheat whiskey, I think actually. And I want to try it because that's another Heaven Hill product. But wheated bourbon, Larceny Barrel Proof, definitely put it on your shelf. You get them for about $70. They come out just like the Elijah Craig batches 3 times a year. And actually, I think the C batch just started hitting around our area, so I might have to go get one. This is the A124, which was great. It was delicious. But definitely Larceny is a wheater. Barrel Proof is a wheater you want to put on your shelf.
Well, that was good. I mean, I think if you're a bourbon drinker and you're kind of getting a little tired of your regular bourbon routine, switching into the wheated and trying the wheated is a good way to try something a little bit different. Not crazy different, but adding additional flavor and dynamics to your palate.
Absolutely.
Sure, definitely.
I prefer wheated over rye any day.
Yeah.
Me too. Yeah.
So let us know in the comments what your favorite wheated bourbons are, and maybe it's something we've never had before.
Yeah.
And we'll have to try it out, but let us know in the comments.
If If you liked our video, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and ring the bell for notifications.
So you never miss another episode of Bourbon School.
Cheers to Larceny. Great, right?
Clinking game on point.